What is up, House Flipping 101 family? Coming to you with another live stream. And this live stream is called um this is funny. Um this live stream is called Get Your Mind Right. That's exactly what I need to be telling myself right now. All right. I couldn't even get the title. Couldn't even get the title right, but it's Get Your Mind Right. And there's a specific reason why I am bringing this particular live stream to you, right? Because there's a lot going on in the atmosphere of real estate. And also there's a lot going on in the atmosphere of life. And one of the number one things that we need to calibrate as real estate investors is getting this thing between our head focused on the right thing. So just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Sam. I know there's new people to the group, so each and every week I got to make sure I introduce myself. My name is Sam, also known as the Pro Design Builder. I've been a real estate investor. I was a house flipper for 5 years. I took a deviation from real estate investing and became a contractor, and I'll tell you how that happened. On my first real estate house flip, I hired a contractor, I fired a contractor. I hired a second contractor, I fired a second contractor. I hired a third contractor, and on that third contractor, we got through the project. I quickly realized that this industry has contractor problems. So I began running my own projects and I got really good at executing on projects. And after 5 years of flipping houses and the market was starting to change, I decided to take the leap and start a construction company. Little did I know, after 2 years of starting that construction company, I realized I didn't know what I was doing. I knew enough and I would make the adjustments as I went and solve some problems. But I realized there was just a lot more problems in construction. And then I found a mentor. And then my mentors really poured into me and really kind of gave me the structure and the systems necessary to do design build. So the last 8 years, I've spent my primary time as a design build general contractor. If you don't know what that is, we take a project from concept to completion. So the time that you meet us and you interact with us, we take you through the architect, we take you through the designer, and we take you through the actual construction permitting process, and we make it very streamlined and simple. So my expertise has to do a lot with construction systems and anything contractor related, managing projects. So I've wholesaled, I rehabbed homes, I've wholesaled homes, I've been a part of over 100 renovations and additions and building homes, custom homes, anything customization when it comes to a house I've touched and I've seen. And that's the level of value that I want to bring to this group. So that's a little bit about me and my backstory. And I'm jumping back into the real estate game, right? So that's the point of launching this group. There's so many reasons why we are launching this particular group. One, we wanted to create community. That was one thing that has been pressing on my heart for the longest time, is making sure I surround myself with like-minded individuals that want to grow, that want to expand in real estate, expand in their business, and expand in life is really what it's truly all about. The other reason is to teach and show new real estate investors how to the do's and the nots and how to really kind of get in the game. And third and final reason why we started this particular group is we want to create more deal flow. So we want to do joint ventures with the group. We want to get way more active in the marketplace because there's going to be some big opportunity that's going to show up in the next few months. So myself and Brandon run this particular group. Brandon Middleton is, I'll tell you a quick story about how we connected. But I met Brandon and I was telling him about this transition that I am currently in, right? Which is transitioning to coaching and running some courses and getting out of the day to day of construction. I realized that I need to use construction as a arm of my business, but I don't want to be in construction with a client facing machine. I want to face my machine towards real estate investors that my investor partners and I could benefit from anything renovation and also doing anything development related. So it's just a better idea, better focus to me. So, but when I met Brandon, I was telling him about community and what I'm looking to launch, and everything that we had touched on, he was like, I did it, or, I'm doing that, or I did it, or I'm doing that. And then by the end of meeting him, I referenced the book, and it's Who Not How. And this book is, I recommend it to anybody. It's a very powerful book. It talks about surrounding yourself around the right who's and not getting stuck in the house. A lot of times we get stuck in the house, and that's one of the subject topics I'm actually going to cover today, right? And get your mind right. So when I referenced that book to him, it was almost like a goosebump moment. And I said to him, I was like, you're my who, for a specific reason, because of his background in marketing. He worked with ET, and a lot of the real estate gurus, so to speak. He ran their marketing machine, and it just was a great fit. And I talked about, who I am as a dad and what I'm looking to do in foster care, and continuing to bring the word, out, in regards to the mission work that I'm doing there. It was always something that's very important to me, and this is the next phase of my transition. So I mentioned that for a reason, because transition is not a bad thing, right? I forget who I was talking to this week, and I was telling them about a bunch of different things I have going on and a bunch of different moving parts. And he mentioned to me, he mentioned the book, Who Moved My Cheese. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book, but I'll give you the breakdown of what happened with this particular book, and it kind of goes perfectly with getting your mind right. So, who moved my cheese? All right, so I'll give you the quick summary. So there's two mice, Sniff and Scurry, the two little people, and two other mice, him and Haw, who live in a maze and rely on cheese to survive. So the cheese drops in each and every day. They expect this cheese to always be there, but there's four different personalities, right? So there's Sniff and Scurry, and him and Haw, right? Sniff and Scurry realized that someone moved the cheese. All right, one day the cheese that typically drops in their plate is not there. So Sniff and Scurry quickly adapt, and they move on, and they search for new cheese without over analyzing the situation, right? And resisting change. Him and Haw, on the other hand, struggled. Him refused to accept the change and stay in place, hoping the cheese will return. Hall, after some hesitation, eventually realizes and adapting to change necessary. He learned to enjoy the journey to become to overcome his fear. Right. So this is really breaking down four types of personalities, especially now in a moving market. And this particular market is a tight squeeze, right? And as we transition, is going to require you to do more to get out of this squeeze, to expand, right? So there's a lot of investors that are chomping by the bit. More so, those are investors that are experienced, right? They know that this big opportunity is coming up. They could feel it in the air, right? But their mind is calibrated for this right time, right? So you have to determine who you're going to be during this next phase, this next chapter, this next transition, right? So I'll break down the characters, and you tell me which one you most resemble or most relate to your character traits. So here's Sniff, the observer and adapter. Sniff is a mouse who quickly notices change in the cheese supply, As soon as the cheese is gone, he is ready to move on without hesitation. He represents people uh, who sense change early and prepare for it. Right. So Sniff doesn't miss a blink. All right. So hey, you put something in front of him next. So there's a good analogy that I have for Sniff, and I played college football at the University of Connecticut, and one of the things that coaches train you to do is next play, next play, next play. And I find myself coaching the same thing, to our kids, which are actually playing football. But when situations happen, right? There's a few different ways you could handle it. You could stay there and be shook by fear, or you could move on to the next play and pretend like it didn't happen. Right? Doesn't mean that you're not dealing with it. Right? That means that you have calibrated yourself to operate for the next play. So that's Sniff. All right, Scurry. All right. He does not overthink. He simply takes action. When the cheese disappears, he immediately starts searching for a new supply. All right. So Scurry is a action taker. All right. So he's like, all right, well, someone moved the cheese. Where the cheese at? Right? Where is the cheese at? It's not here. It has to be somewhere. I gotta go find it. He's taking action. He's making sure that the cheese show up somewhere. Right. So that's an action taker. Him. All right. So the resistant one. Him refuses to adapt. That the cheese is gone. He remains in place, hoping the cheese will return. Growing angry and fearful. He represents people who resist change and struggle with fear of the unknown. All right. If you if you could relate to this, just put a one in the chat if you could relate to this, right? Sometimes fear has a way of paralyzing certain people, right? And for me, that's not the case. I've just seen too much in this life to be as fearful as people are. But this brings up a good personality type, because you're gonna feel like things need to be absolutely perfect for you to make a move, whereas it actually doesn't need to be at all, right? You need to just take action, and the dominoes will fall where they may. But those are there is a lot of resistant ones or hymns operating all the time, right? And then there's Hall. Hall and him hesitate and are afraid. Over time, he realizes that staying stuck won't help, and he overcomes his fear and searches for new cheese. He learns to enjoy the journey, embraces change, and finds new cheese. He represents people who learn from experience and grow. Right. So it took Hall a little bit of time, but he realized, like most of us probably realize, no one's coming to save us, right? No one is coming to save us in a squeeze type of market, right? So there's a couple different approaches. Are you going to take massive action and start looking for new cheese? Or are you going to be slow to deliver and want things to be perfect and be scared and be timid? The reality is, this inflation is not getting better, right? And I'll give you an example of a struggle that I was having last year as a contractor, and I'm a very good contractor. But last year, the squeeze. Here's where I knew there was a turn in the market as construction, residential construction specifically, right? So when my lead flow dropped off, I started getting more calls from other trades looking for work than I did for people looking for projects, right? So that's a big turnaround. So and then all of my guys are starting to circle around and calling me and like saying, "What's going on with this market? What's going on? There's no work. There's people I'm looking for work, and nobody says they got anything starting in there, and this and that, right?" So there's this squeeze for me that's happening because I'm looking for work too, and I'm accustomed to eating what I kill. And these guys are constantly every couple days or every couple weeks like saying, "What's going on? I don't understand what's going on in the market." Do you have any work? Do you have anything? I'm looking for stuff. Da 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 da. Da. So I felt this particular squeeze as well. And I decided to make a choice. Right. I decided to make a choice back to the bread and butter that I know I have a little bit more control over. I'm not relying on the consumer. I'm relying on the activity level to produce the desired effect, right? So I am amplifying my activity level when it comes to finding leads, getting in front of people, doing a podcast, dropping more content. I was watching Gary V, which I really enjoy Gary V. And one of the key things that he kept saying is it's more no, he kept saying and, right? And not or, right? Not TikTok or Instagram, not Instagram or LinkedIn, just and Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok and live streams and podcasts and YouTube and that needs to be your mindset in this next chapter, right? How do you get in front of people to create the opportunity that you need to for your family? It needs to be and more activity. All right. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring this particular live stream to you. That's what your mindset needs to be like. And I like Jocko book um about extreme ownership. I've read about 3 or 4 of his books, but he talks about running missions and stuff like that, and taking extreme ownership over every aspect of every single thing, right? And when you're wrapping your mindset very similar to what he just described, you can see how you don't leave any room for anything else but greatness, right? So I wanted you to read. I wanted to read some market statistics for you guys coming into this year, right? All right. So Tampa real estate market average days on market in January 2025. Homes in Tampa and a medium of 48 days on the market, an increase from 38 days in the previous year. Redfin. Inventory levels, the number of homes for sale in Tampa rose by 8% from December 2024 to January 2025. Total of 3887 active listings. Distressed properties. Recent hurricanes, such as Hurricane Helene, have caused significant property damage, leading to an increase of distressed properties. Many homeowners, especially those underinsured, are struggling to sell, contributing to the rise in such listing. Uh, in South Florida market, average days on market, approximately 70% of homes listings in the Tampa Bay area, which is part of South Florida, remained on the market for more than a month. Inventory levels have experienced a significant increase in housing inventory with 20.1% rise in homes for sale year over year as of January 2025. The region has seen a surge of distressed properties due to escalating insurance costs and frequent hurricanes. These factors have made it challenging for homeowners to sell, leading to an increase in property listings under distressed conditions. All right. So you got to pay attention to exactly what the market is telling us that it's doing. So we're getting ready for I truly feel like we're getting ready for a flood of new properties hitting the market, whether it's distress. There's going to be massive opportunities when it comes to short sales. If you know how to position yourself, there's distressed properties coming into play from Hurricane Helene. There's exodus happening in the state because of insurance costs and overall costs per living, and this creates massive opportunity if you know how to take advantage of the market, right? So these are the types of things that you're looking at and calibrating when you're looking at the next chapter or shift in the market. All right, getting yourself prepared, always be on the lookout, and also get your mind right. Get prepared for this next chapter that's coming up. Have a good day.